Hey guys, welcome back to a new video for me. Before I get started on the content of the video, there's a few things I want to say. And the first thing is that there is absolutely no way I could have ever really done this without my awesome wife, Robin. She not only participates in building the collection, but also she's very supportive of collecting. And she's not one of those wives that, have you reached enough records? Do you really need to buy another record? Do you spend too much time on records and money and stuff like that? She's never been that way. In fact, most of the time, if we're going out of town somewhere, she's the first one actually looking up the local record stores. Like when we went on our anniversary last month, which we celebrated 3 years of marriage. We've been together almost 5 years. And I just want to say thank you, and I love you, and you are my rock and everything I ever could have wished for and more. Second of all, I'd like to plug a few of my subscribers that if you haven't already check out Rick and Records, check out Ron Hagerty, Scott Waters, who I believe is at No Life Till Metal. There's quite a few that I don't know completely offhand. Dr. October, which is DROKTOBER. He's really cool. Just a bunch of you can go on, click on my channel and look and see the guys that I have on there. Also, wanted to kind of plug my own Facebook group. I know there's a lot of vinyl groups out there on Facebook, but I have one that's starting to kind of grow a little bit, and the group is called VC United in all caps. And I know a few of the members in this group are in there as well. But also Ron Hagerty, go check out his channel. Great guy. Knew him way before collecting vinyl. Known him for probably about 10 years or so, I guess. Not too long before my son was born, and he'll be 10 next month. So somewhere around 10 months, we really started being like real friends, where he sent me his phone number. And I've always considered Ron to be one of my best friends. So if I haven't told you a lot, or if I haven't told you lately, Ron, I love you. You're one of my best friends ever. You were a brother to me way before being a brother in Christ. And I think maybe Daisy wants to be in the video. Hi, Daisy. No? Okay. Okay, she doesn't want to be in the video. Okay, so anyway, as you can tell from the title of the video, this is a good majority of the stuff in my thrash collection that I have. So I try to not have too many things by the same band in here. I've got a couple DVDs, some books, and obviously some records that I want to show. But the first thing I'll show is my t-shirt, which is Municipal Waste. This is for the Art of Partying album. They are one of the new wave of thrash crossover bands that I really like. One of my favorites. There's a lot of them out there. There's Dr. Living Death. There's Gamma Bomb. What else is out there? Let's see. Warbringer, Vector, Havoc is a really good one. Evil, Bonded by Blood. There's a lot of really good new wave of thrash bands that are coming up as well that deserve attention. That I probably don't have a whole lot of newer band stuff in here, but I have a couple, I think. So the first things I want to show are the books, which I have 3 of. The first one is Dave Mustaine's book, and I don't have the outer cover anymore, the little plastic thing. And I think it's just called Mustaine, a heavy metal memoir. And so I got this. Probably better if I just leave it alone who I got this from. But anyway, really good book. I won't go into everything about it. I would highly recommend you picking it up. It's got some really cool pictures, really history of the band, kind of what led to certain members leaving and other members coming back and stuff like that. And it wasn't until I started gathering my stuff for this video that I noticed that in the back of the book, it's a handwritten letter. Some of you may know that I worked for a couple of years at a group foster home. And one of the kids there, which I'm pretty sure this has to be from him because I don't remember loaning this out to anybody else. He was probably he was at the time, I'll say, probably around like 15, and he through conversations that we had just about life in general, stuff like that. Found out he pretty much liked metal, at least some bands or whatever. So I gave him a couple books to kind of borrow and read or whatever while he was there. And so, like I said, I didn't see this note until I was gathering everything together. But I think that sometimes we can overlook how much of an impact we can have on somebody's life, whether you work in the fields that I've worked in for the last few years, or just anything. Just the casual showing that you care to somebody, whether it's, it doesn't have to be something that's so forward as like hugging or telling somebody you love them or you care about them and stuff like that. Just simple gestures of, giving them a book to read. And in the letter that he wrote, I won't read it all because I really can't make out most of it because it's in cursive. Not to say I can't read cursive, but some people's cursive is I can't really read it. Like my grandmother, she would write in cursive on like my birthday cards and stuff, and really it was like only like 4 words I could ever really make out. And they're usually my name, love, and happy birthday, and grandma. That was really about it. But from what I can gather in this book, he talks about how, I helped him and related to a situation that he had been through, and just thanking me for taking the time to approach him and just, be real with them. And that's the best way we can be with people, just period, is being real with them. And another way that music connects to people, it doesn't necessarily have to be the music itself. It can be what's written down. So I just wanted to share that because I thought that was really cool. I've gotten like Facebook messages from kids that I had at the group home before, and I won't make this a long thing about that, but it's just sometimes you don't really know how well you've reached somebody in any kind of capacity until sometime later when they kind of come to you and be like, hey, you helped me in this, you gave me somebody to look up to. So you may not always consider yourself to be a role model. You might not want to even be a role model to really anybody else, but just realize that people are always watching you and what you do, and just try to be a positive influence, wherever you can. All right, so this next book I was right out of boot camp, went to Fort Meade, Maryland, where I had my training school, which was in photography. It was at a Department of Defense base. So basically, I had all branches for photography and journalism and other things or whatever. I was supposed to originally have gone to Pensacola, but they moved my school while I was in boot camp, and so yeah, I got to freeze my butt off in Fort Meade, Maryland. But anyway, a friend of mine, we took the subway out to DC, which wasn't too far away. And I really don't remember much of the DC trip itself. I was sober, just to clarify that. I don't know. I just don't remember a whole lot about it. If I remember picking this book up, The Frayed Ends of Sanity, the story of Metallica. This came out before the Load albums. I do know that. So somewhere around like 93 or so. Let's see if we have a year on this anywhere. 1993 was when it was copyrighted, printed. So this was at that point, kind of the unofficial biography of Metallica. Really cool read. I mean, I'd already seen the behind the music on them before and know a lot about them. But this has some pretty cool stuff in here. Got some, Black Album era pictures of James. It really goes through a lot of the kind of the way they felt towards when Cliff died and stuff like that. There was another picture here I just skipped. I don't know where it went to. I just had it. I want to see if it was one of the older pictures, but I guess I'm not going to find it. Let's see if this is one of them. Well, here's a picture of Jason, or Jay Sonic as they would call him. It was a really cool book. Like I said, not a whole lot I didn't already know before reading it, but sometimes you end up finding some things out. Another book that I have, my wife gave me as I believe, a Christmas present. My Bloody Roots, autobiography of Max Sepultura, or Max Cavalera, excuse me, of obviously Sepultura, Soulfly, Cavalera Conspiracy, Killer Be Killed, and on. And this is a really, really, really cool read. Really details a lot of things. Gives some light on some things that there were a lot of misconceptions on. Forwarded by Dave Grohl, who, if you don't know, of obviously Foo Fighters and Nirvana, but he is a huge metal fan. If you've never checked out his Probot album, it's a complete metal album. It's got different some of his like idols and stuff on the record on vocals. He's got Lemmy on there, King Diamond's on there. I don't remember if Max is on there, but you got the singer from Trouble is on there. I believe Wino of St. Vitus might be on there, but I don't remember. Don't quote me on it. This, by the way, is my newest crack. And I am a firm believer that this was created on the 8th day after God took a rest on the 7th. This had to be in the Garden of Eden. The Mountain Dew Major Melon. I don't know if you've seen the commercials. I first saw them during the Super Bowl. But this is like the greatest drink on earth that's not alcoholic. So I'm just going to put it that way. Okay, so I'm going to go to a couple of DVDs that I have. This first one came out in 2005, Testament Live in London. And this was a reunion show when all of the original members of Testament got back together after the Ritual album. Pretty much the only two guys that really left standing from the original recording lineup were Eric Peterson and Chuck Billy, but they brought back Alex and company back. Really just awesome stuff. Everything from the Ritual on back to their first album. Really great video. So the next one I'm going to show is a documentary called Get Thrash, the story of thrash metal. Which, by the way, maybe if I didn't mention before when I started this video, thrash is my absolute favorite metal subgenre. Always has been. It's the first time I heard Metallica. But this DVD is awesome. Doesn't really have a booklet or anything that comes with it. That's what the DVD looks like. But it has a lot of interviews. It has a lot of kind of the story of really how the two primary things that really started out the New York and the Bay Area of San Francisco goes, and then there's like all these like extra like features you can go on where you can click on different parts of the world, different parts of the United States, and it'll tell you like who the major bands from that area were. Really cool stuff. It's got a lot of interviews with bands that aren't thrash, but consider them to be part of their influence. You got Slipknot, Lamb of God, In Flames, Shadows Fall, Hatebreed, Pantera, which is not a thrash band, by the way. But you got your usuals: Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, Creator, Exodus. They're on here. But this is a really cool DVD. There's another one called Murder on the Front Row, which I have not seen, and maybe it's up on YouTube or something. Maybe I can watch it on there. Really cool stuff. Okay, so the smallest little record I have is an EP called Armed for Battle, and this has members of 3 bands called Join the Dead, Deliverance, and Ultimatum. They're Christian thrash bands, and on one side, you got a song by Join the Dead. Then on side B, you have Ultimatum covering Exodus. And not Exodus, Deliverance. And I think there may be some Deliverance members in here because I don't know all the members of Ultimatum. I really only know Scott by name because I know him through Facebook and stuff like that. And on another channel I used to be really heavy on that I haven't got back on in a long time was my Metal Warrior channel. And that I did an interview with Scott, and that was pretty cool. Down to earth, great guy. So now I'm going to actually go into the records, which is probably what you're all waiting on. these are in kind of no real order. They kind of got shuffled a bit as I was just grabbing, trying to make sure I got one from each band. Some of these bands I only have one of, so it kind of made it easy. But I choose to only do one for each one just because otherwise I could be here for quite a while. I'm already past the 15-minute mark. So here we go. First up, live on Saturday night. It's not Saturday Night Live. It's live in New York. Anthrax. So they are from New York. This is the latest album they put out a few years ago, For All Kings. Really great record. It's not really a thrash record altogether. The first few were. But love me some Anthrax. My favorite Anthrax album would be Among the Living. Next, from Canada, they debut from Annihilator, Alice in Hell. Love these guys. Not quite sure which album of Annihilator is my favorite. I like a lot of their records, a whole lot. Next band, I believe, is from the United States. I got this in a contest that I almost won. Anacrusis, The Suffering Hour. It's really cool. They have a bonus on. It's a 2 LP set. There's a bonus song. Last one's a cover of NIB, which it's a very interesting cover. Next one, I'm sure everybody knows. The band that got me into metal to begin with, not just thrash. Metallica from the Bay Area. Master of Puppets, which the vinyl just shot out. My wife purchased this. This is their third album from '86. Going with another band from California, Megadeth. This is their fourth album, Rust in Peace. Another American band that I cannot quite remember where they're from. This is another one of the Christian thrash bands. This is Sacrament, Haunts of Violence. My original copy, which you can see kind of in the background there, that I received at first was cracked. So I had to receive a second copy before I could listen to it. Another Christian band. This is part of one of the layouts that Scott Waters, No Life Till Metal Rocks Records did. Ritual Servant, Metal Evangeli or Evangeli, however you want to call it. This came out a year or 2 or 3 ago. 19. So about almost, just a little over, maybe under 2 years. Really cool band. Most of them are from close to where I live in South Carolina. What's really cool about the lyric sheet in this is that it shows each Bible verse that relates or pertains to each song. Another great Bay Area thrash band, Exodus. This is their Fabulous Disaster album. This is my favorite Exodus album that doesn't have Paul Bailoff on it, because that's my favorite, Bonded by Blood. But this is my favorite Zetro era. My favorite Zetro era was Pleasures of the Flesh, but listening to this more and more as I got to, and this right here is also a poster that you can see back behind me as well. You can see the Metallica thing back there as well. I include crossover in this because I can. It's my video. And Deep from the Heart of Texas, or wherever their Texas town is from, I don't know what geographic part of Texas it is. DRI, Dirty Rotten Imbeciles. This is their crossover album. Awesome stuff. Another from the Bay Area, Dark Angel. This is their Leave Scars album. I don't think anything that I have is other than the Ritual Servant and the Anthrax album that I have. None of these are like OG back in the day copies, because I have a lot of older stuff. Sweet Home New Jersey. That's right, Overkill taking over. Try to be clean for this video, so I didn't say exactly how he says it on the live album. My favorite record from them is Necro Shine, but these guys, as you know, Ron would say, there's no band better in the world than Overkill. Another one, I want to say from somewhere in Florida. I'm not really sure. Nasty Savage. This is their EP, Abstract Reality. Really cool. It's got 4 songs on here. It arrived to me really warped. I'm not the only one that had this problem with this particular EP, whether it being shipped or picked up in store. Probably my favorite thrash band. I don't have any of the older ones yet. Again, we go back to Testament. This is their latest album, Titans of Creation. A monster of a record. Great record. I'd probably say the best one they've done since the original lineup kind of formed back. Or most of the original lineup anyway. Since they brought back Alex anyway. Gonna go back with a crossover theme again. Debut from Suicidal Tendencies. Great band. And then another crossover album, what my friend Larry Porter, which you guys would know from his comments, but I know him as Buddy Porter. The White Album of Crossovers, SOD, Speak English or Die. This is the 30-year anniversary, which has the second LP is the Live at Budokan from '99. I had their album, their second. I think they only had 2 studio albums. I had their second album, Bigger Than the Devil, on CD at one point. Slayer. They were really the authors of Evil and Thrash. And last but not least, Sepultura. They had quite a few different phases. Kind of started out as like a death metal, then kind of moved into thrash, and then moved kind of more like to a groove with some tribal elements. This is kind of like the last one to really have the thrash kind of stuff going on prior to Roots. I only showed it because it's the only one we have. The first time I ever heard of Sepultura was on a thrash compilation. I can't remember the name. I bought it overseas, and I don't remember any other bands that were on it except Sepultura. And the first song I ever heard from them was on there. It was called Desperate Cry. Fell in love immediately with those guys from Brazil. There's a couple other thrash bands from Brazil. Volcano's one. Karma Blade, which is a relatively newer band that I'm not exactly sure when they came out. But that's all the thrash stuff I have. That doesn't mean I don't know of or like any of the other thrash bands. I just haven't gotten the stuff. So anyway, that's my video. Hope you were able to enjoy the 22 and a half minutes so far. And God bless.